couple of years ago, these classic retro consoles were all the rage for some reason. Like, Nintendo did it, Sega did it, Atari did it for some reason. Like, who in the past few years has ever wanted to play Atari? Like, I grew up with Atari because I was poor, so that's what I had originally instead of regular Nintendo, and Atari doesn't even resemble video games anymore. And since they all did it, of course Sony had to do it too. And so they came out with the PlayStation Classic, to which everyone reacted with a resounding and collective meh. And the only reason I did end up buying one is because they were really, really clearanced out for like $25, I think, is what I bought mine for. When I saw the game list, I was just kind of like, and I just threw this aside, and it was just collecting dust for a few years. So, original PlayStation isn't from my childhood. I had Nintendo 64, so that was my childhood. I didn't actually get a PlayStation until I was in college, I think. Like, I got a PlayStation 1 after I got a PlayStation 2. And I think the only reason I bought a PS1 was because it was really easy to get bootleg discs for it. So Nintendo had at least a backlog of IPs to rely on. They had Mario and Donkey Kong and Zelda and Star Fox and F-Zero and a ton of other games. Sony didn't really have that with the original PlayStation, but they still did come up with some good games. So you would think this thing would be loaded with stuff like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Silent Hill, Symphony of the Night, Tomb Raider, Battle Arena Toshinden. Thank God. So I decided to finally sit down and actually play through these to see if any of these are actually any good. I have the habit of playing games for like 5 minutes and then giving up on them. So what I figured I would do is give each of these an hour. 1 hour to catch my attention, and then rather than doing like some kind of number scale rating, they're going to fall into one of two categories. Either replay or reject. Which replay is something that I would possibly throw in and play again in the future, and reject is no, I'm never ever playing this again.
Even if there's a fire!
So starting off at the top, we have Battle Arena Toshinden, which I never heard of until I started playing this console. So this is a fighter, and I'm admittedly not a fighting game aficionado. I kind of like Mortal Kombat just for the fatalities and the sort of cool background lore, but that's about it. So we're only on the menu, and this game's already pissing me off. We have to press start to select options on the main menu. Like, why? Have none of these people ever played a game before? Negative 50 points. Alright, now we got our selection here of some generic looking characters. I'm going with Foe because he has Wolverine claws. And it's teaming me up against Rungo. It's like the Japanese developers were sitting around trying to think of some kind of generic white guy name, but none of them had ever actually met a white guy before. Like, they were just sitting around throwing out names, and they're like, Steve, Bill, Rungo. And now when we pause the game and go to, like, change settings and stuff, we have to use the select button to change options in the pause menu. Negative 50,000 this time. Again, I know this is old, so maybe I'm just so used to everything being sort of standardized by now, but... So I was trying to find, like, a move list. And again, that might be a modern current day thing where they have the built-in move lists. But like, there's no booklet that came with this game, so I don't know how you're supposed to know the move set or know anything about these characters. Maybe with the actual original game, they gave like a booklet that had some moves or something in there, but that's another thing about this console in general. They didn't even take the time to like put in like PDFs of them or anything. So anyway, I just kind of like button mashed my way through this game. So the graphics are okay, I guess, for the time. Again, it's hard going back with retro, especially this generation. The previous generation had those sprites that hold up pretty well still, and then the future generation is when graphics started getting, I don't want to say realistic on PS2 and original Xbox, but they were at least decent. And so all the fighters in this game have weapons. I guess that's the theme. I don't know specifically why, but again, I didn't pay too much attention, and I don't have a booklet or anything for any backstory. So the gameplay on this one is just really slow and clunky, and like there's a dead zone in between the characters where like it feels like you can't even get close enough to actually pull off any attacks. Like I'm trying to get like nose to nose because my attacks aren't landing, but it just won't let me get any closer. And yeah, I'm just kind of button mashing. That's the whole thing I did. I did pull off some special moves, so I guess at least they did make them relatively intuitive just by how you do them on other fighting games. And I do like in the menu there is a way where you could just put all the special moves on the trigger buttons. So if you want to just spam them, you can try that. You can also knock your opponent out of the arena to win. So I guess that's something. That's probably the easier way. If you can get a good strategy for knocking them out, you can get some fights out of the way easier. I switched to Sofia at one point, and she kind of reminds me of one of the fairies from Ocarina of Time. Not only the appearance, but how she dances and everything. And at first I was like, oh, well, I'm actually doing better with her. And then I danced myself off the platform. Eventually, after you fight all the main characters, you fight this Gaia thing. And fighting game bosses are usually pretty cheap, but this thing killed me in like 8 seconds with 3 moves. I tried everything. I tried switching characters, tried cheating, tried just spamming special attacks, tried using the thing where you can just put all your special moves onto the triggers. I legit tried, and I'm even playing on super easy mode, but I can't beat this freaking thing. I tried messing around with the settings too to make it easier and turning down player 2's power, turning up player 1. I don't know if that actually works in this mode or if that's just for the 2-player mode, but that didn't work for me. So I have no idea what happens when you win. I tried repeatedly, and this thing just spammed special attacks and kicked my ass over and over. I couldn't beat it. No clue what happens next. No clue if you unlock special characters or anything by beating it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm definitely calling this one a reject. I never heard of this game in the first place, and if you never heard of it, you're better off. Again, I'm not a big fighting game person, but this has to be one of the worst ones I've ever played. So yeah, I'm definitely calling this one a reject. Battle Arena Toshinden, more like Battle Arena Toshinden.
Right?
So we're off to a great start already. I mean, I know we're in alphabetical order, but they could have found literally any game that started with the letter A, and it would have been better than this garbage. Hopefully that means it's going to be all uphill from here.